Hi, I hope in this moment that you are feeling open. That is the most that I think can be expected of you during the time that you're watching this, but more specifically during November 2025. I'm recording this the day after a super full moon, and the day before what if I remember correctly, understand to be the perihelion of one of the comets that are just casually hovering in our solar system. Lots of energetic changes happening right now. We are in what feels to be the eye of a storm in all angles. There are plenty of storms happening right now, solar ones, a literal one. If you're in Johannesburg, South Africa, I'm experiencing rain right now. Maybe there's rain by you. And without a doubt, a spiritual one. I think that we can arrive to saying with a straight back and chest out in full confidence that we are in a spiritual war. Our attentions are being tugged left and right, and all with the intention and the goal to find the real center of your peace and bliss within. A lot of people during this time, because of how intense and everything is energetically, obviously all energy workers and the likes are speaking on how much light potential there is in the situation, and I wanted to support that, but also come with the grounding that I think, in my opinion, and I'm probably speaking from a very Plutonian point of view, but I believe that there is some real value in looking at it through this lens if you intend on being like a wholly integrated person, or if you label yourself as a light worker, energy worker. You'll know if you have the responsibility of being a healer, knowledge spreader, truth seeker, etc. You know what I mean? For us, we need to be aware of the whole spectrum so that we can sharpen our skills at integrating both sides. For us, for the energetic sensitives, and for you, even if you don't resonate with all the labels that I've been giving, but you still resonate or have a sense of how low, heavy, exhausting everything feels right now, then this reading is specifically for that, for ironing out that energy and grounding in the resilience and strength that we're building, remembering that we can take on anything. We're made for everything that we're feeling, all the lows, the crazy trigger points, any mode of chaos that you may be processing internally or externally, you're made for it. And it all has a signature. It has an energetic signature or blueprint that is set up specifically for you to be able to uncover, unfurl, reveal what needs to be revealed, shine light on what needs to be shine light on what needs light, and heal, do the whole healing of it, not just healing in little bits, healing the whole. So I wouldn't really say that there are many. I wanted to say that there's many patterns coming up in as far as how much work is being done. I think that I've been talking about shame and guilt a lot, and I honestly feel that collectively, sorry about the signal as well, hopefully you can still hear me. I honestly feel collectively, though, that we're doing a brilliant job. So brilliant, in fact, that, as I mentioned in the last reading I think I did, collective one, the universe is rising to meet us halfway. The universe is reconfiguring everything, internal and external. It's all reconfiguring in order to meet us where we are at right now. We are reaching an energetic ascension or an energetic warp, morphing or changing. Our worlds were playing out a pattern. They were playing out a pattern that would interact with us, that we would feed into, that we would grow and activate and whatever. Now that we've ascended, our worlds have to reconfigure to meet us where we're at. This feels very important in holding the thought that I just mentioned feels very important in remembering during these times, as it will be, I think, sorry, the stream is reporting really bad signal. Normally I'd continue going on, but now it's bad enough for me to need to check and see what's going on. It seems as though it is literally not streaming right now. Sorry about this. Like I said, we're going through a rainy season right now, my side. So the signal's going to be in and out. There's not much I can do about that. But I will try to keep this brief. So I was saying, I really hate fear-mongering, but I also really hate not giving full or whole information. I hate the love and light only side of this spiritual kind of cyclone thing we're going in right now, where it just looks too much like a kind of toxic positivity to me, to see a bunch of spiritual light workers and people only speak and feed in on how much light there is. We're going through an upgrade, ascension, blah, 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 blah. I think that, again, and I've said this before in previous channelings, that it's so useful to consider everything in terms of energy. If you're only going to be looking at the light and perceiving and taking in and holding the light frequency without acknowledging the dark doesn't just disappear. I'd have to get into what the situation is, what the container of observation is when we're talking about only looking at the light and the dark, whatever. I'd have to talk about the circumstances of that, many different circumstances, but I think what's liable to happen right now, if you only focus on the light, is that the darkness, it's going to come out and, it's going to get you like a creature, or like a, oh my God, like a gremlin. And the gremlins, just as a side, they really remind me of Labubu. But anyway, the point is, though, that I think, in my opinion, the best way to stay ahead of absolutely everything that happens or that may come, that may arise, is to not seek the light per se, but seek the truth, seek presence, and above all and everything else, seek your breath and be present in that motion of your body. I've been experiencing a very dramatic brain fog. It feels very dramatic for me because of how, again, part of the cycle, how much work I thought I've done in order to stay clear and focused. This brain fog that's overcoming me is it seems to be taking away the focus that I've been working so hard on this whole time. That may be something that comes up for you, where obstacles and challenges arise that make you feel like you're moving backwards, but you're not. Please understand that. At this point in the game of this spiritual journey that you're on, it is actually impossible to turn back. It's impossible to reverse or to undo the amount of work that you have done. Please look into Pam Gregory, who I've mentioned very often, and who has mentioned as well this sense of no turning back that I have referenced now. She's actually made a video. She's been building up energetically to what I think is going to peak around next year, March, to a point of of like a new world building, a new way of becoming and being for each of us as individuals and collectively that is irreversible. She's been playing with that energy a lot and speaking on it a lot. The fact that we are doing work right now and making changes, even on cellular levels, that cannot be reversed. Please have faith in that as well. Nothing that you have done will be undone, especially if it's rooted in love, which is the truth. Love, presence, love for the self, and then love for the other. I feel called to suggest that you sort out your hierarchy as well. Excuse me, in terms of like who and what you give attention to and what kind of attention you give. For example, I've recently, as of a few months ago, came to the realization, and I actually saw a tweet on this. I think I'll link it in the description because I just think it's funny. So via the tweet, it was a video of this man petting a woman who was petting a cat, that kind of order. And then the realization I had a few months ago was particularly of men and of society in general, but of following the heterosexual nuclear family model, just for simple sake, because that's the foundation that this whole world's been built on so far. That children are meant to love and care and focus on, I guess, themselves. Women are built to care and focus on themselves and children. Men are built to care and focus on women, children, and God. All of those relative to the self, right? So if the self was this, children and the self are right here. Women and the self are maybe here with children in between. Men and the self here with women and children in between. I hope that makes sense. I think it may make more sense if I had a pen and paper. But anyway, that's what I think will be easiest for us to, that's a model that I think would be simplest to follow, especially if you're somebody who's working on people pleasing and boundary setting. If you identify with being an empath, and if you felt as of this year in particular that you need to learn how to not over empathize, things along those lines. If maybe also you are a sensitive, then this time is for you to rework the guard around your heart and to make it permeable enough to know, to be able to love openly, but without like putting your heart at risk according to how you understand it. It's a very individual thing, learning how to love without sacrificing yourself. You know where that line is, only you know. Please keep that in mind, as that may be a theme. And then relative to that, the self, the relationship to the self, love of self, there's also this frequency of yearning that's come up also, I think is also naturally paired with the void, which I also think is some kind of mirror of God, in the sense that it's like God is like probing at us, calling at us to say, come look at me, look at me. And we as humans, from our human mind, from not just human, but from the matrix programmed mind, energetically, maybe not with full awareness, but energetically, we hear this calling and then we turn and we resist, we project, we fear, we turn to God and we say, you're not even real. Prove that you're real to me. I can't even see you. How can I believe in something I can't see? You know, that creates a kind of fear, victimization, a sense of unnurture, like the Empress in reverse, where you're resisting love. You cannot give it, you cannot receive it, just a closed offness. But knowing that you need intimacy and you need care and relationship and connection, but being unable to push past whatever projections of fear or whatever may be suppressing you in the first place. We're dealing with that contrast a lot, I feel. Again, especially the sensitives. I think this full supermoon is deeply effective for people who already know, who very naturally know how to live from the heart space. This is a very testing time. Please also beware of health scares very randomly. And this has to do with the frequency I've been reading repeatedly of how the inner world and the outer world, the spiritual world and the external world, the 3D world and the other dimensions. They're all kind of intersecting right now. And any health scares, or rather, let me say, because of the crazy energetic chaos, it may come out in the form of health scares. So beware of that. Look after your state of being, you know. Tend to every part of yourself in whatever ways that you can take control of moment to moment. So the center of that is focusing on the breath. Very useful, very important. Then out of that, we have what? Things like meditation, prayer. Further out, we have exercise, movement, yoga. Even further out, we have vitamins, if you're on that. As I've mentioned in previous readings, begun taking vitamins for my nervous system. I just felt called to pick that up. And then I think in that same circle, because it has to do with indigestion, watch out obviously for what you eat. Please stay away from things that can activate inflammation. So sugar, dairy, if that's how your body reacts to, if your body reacts like that to dairy, sugar, salt. Dense things, watch out for that. Dense foods, proteins and eggs and things. Fatty foods are obviously takeouts and stuff, amen. To each their own, but please don't be surprised if you feel like shit after the meal. And then in general as well, take everything in waves. Don't expect any consistency during this period, especially as we're leading up to, I think, Mercury retrograde. I don't know when it starts, but we've all been talking about it. So yeah, it's close by. Please take this Mercury retrograde seriously. Like I'd mentioned earlier in this reading, we are in the middle of a geomagnetic storm that's been happening pretty much effectively for like 2 months now. I will link the videos that I've been getting facts from. Please search for Stefan Burns. He's so accurate and very unbiased and straightforward. He's incredible. He's been mentioning how these particular wave of storms that we're in is very liable to affect technology. We recently experienced a power cut on the very same day, a few hours after. Stefan Burns had mentioned that we just had a solar flare, a very powerful one, and he's been building up to this. He said that these solar flares that we are going to experience are very likely going to affect power grid systems, technology. So that whole chat about Mercury retrograde and tech, very important. I don't really like to take it seriously as of late because I'm just very, I feel exhausted, honestly. I feel spiritually exhausted, and I feel like just leaving it up to fate, conserve some of my energy. If you're like that, then yeah, type B, shout out. But if you're not and you want to maintain your tape A-ness, then please consider taking Mercury retrograde seriously this season. Double check everything. Make sure your tech is charged. And try not to take shit personally. I think there's going to be a lot of projections as well. A lot of people saying some dumbass shit that's going to be like, what? Has nothing to do with you. Highly likely has absolutely nothing to do with you. And maybe more than anything will have to do with the universe just trying to trigger you, just trying to stir some shit up. It feels like this whole vibe of what's in the air right now is very The Fool, you know? Lots of very intentional tests to poke right at you and to trigger you right there, right in the spot. Congratulations to you if you have not been pushed to the limit of having a mental breakdown. I think that's worth noting. If you haven't broken down yet, if you haven't burst into tears yet, that's worth, that's worth a little clap. That's worth a trophy. These are times never before seen. And we really need to look after ourselves in every way so that when the storm clears, we're not left shocked at the debris, because there will be debris. Instead, we will be able to get going, not ruminate so much. And this is a frequency as well for the present moment. Try not to ruminate so much in whatever chaos may come, or whatever chaos is brought up from the past, or whatever internal traumas and triggers come up. Try not to cook too much on it. It's coming as a final test for you to clear it out. You'll be able to feel how often you've cooked on something, how often you've complained about something, or how often something has made you upset. Sometimes it'll even come up in the form of one person, like one person maybe has been pissing you off this whole year cyclically, or one person saying one thing or one task that you've had to do that has been really irritating for you to do, but you've had to do it and it's always offset you. Try not to, be honest about the way you feel. I think that's the most promising thing. That's the most promising way out of anything ever. It's just being honest with yourself and the way that you feel. Yeah. I want to sit with the possibility of having more. The pattern recognition is off the charts. It's no longer a niche or exclusive experience to recognize patterns. I hope we're all aware of that collectively. I hope we're all aware of that collectively. That these spiritual, these spiritual senses and things that other people have that maybe you thought you don't, you probably do. You just need to be more aware of yourself, of your bodily sensations. Also very important. I've been experiencing a thing where I get random sensations in parts of my body that have to do with the physiological, psychological chart of how each body is linked to a part of your processing. Or if you have shit in the knees, you're resisting change. If you have pain in the knees, you're resisting change. If you have pain in the womb, then it's ancestral communication, stuff like that. I've been getting lots of those senses, especially when I'm having negative thoughts. It's as if my body is communicating with me directly to say, "Oh, this negative thought," and it's not even about, "Oh, stop thinking the negative thought." It's about the reason you're having this negative thought is because you have this stored inside of your energetic field. This negative thought is linked with your inability to accept change, or is linked with some ancestral or mother wound that you need to clear out. You know what I mean? Lots of interdimensional communication happening right now that is for our greatest good, that is right there, ever available, that can make things so much easier than they feel right now. Lots of resistance. There are too many people resisting communication from their spirit worlds, and it's causing upheaval across all worlds. If you feel any part of you contracting, please do the work to release and expand and relax. And if none of this works, if you can't even focus on your breath, then try to find something funny. Find something to laugh at. Laughter, and it's so easy. Have a joyful conversation with the Gemini. Have a conversation with the Gemini, the Gemini placement. Their power of curiosity is very useful right now. Gemini, Pisces, but we wear the Pisces because we're touring the underworld right now. I'm a Pisces rising. Touring the underworld right now. We're very sensitive. If you want to talk to us, make sure that you have your vibe up first. Because if you come to us with low shit, we're just going to ruminate with you. And yeah, I don't know. Speaking as a Pisces rising, tropical Pisces rising, I really don't have with how sensitive everything is, I'm not a pillar of strength. Don't look at me as a pillar of strength right now. Oh, and that's another thing that I've also been saying, that I've also been repeating in channelings, but also it should be very second nature, especially with how isolating and in how energetically isolating this year has been overall. Please, we need to be there for each other. Please prioritize love in each other's spaces, in the spaces you share with other people. And if you can't find love and presence in those spaces, then maybe step back from those spaces, Or if you're ready, be curious about what love is hidden in those spaces. See if you can transmute it. There's always the opportunity for that through all spaces, even with your enemy. Your enemy can be your greatest friend, you know? I do not have the energetic capacity to deal with that shit right now. I will be angry at who I'm angry at. I will project onto who I'm projecting on. That's me trying to be honest with myself. That's the most I can give right now. And if you feel the same, shout out and forgive, compassion, all that jazz. I will consider getting into readings again. Like I said, this feels like the eye of the storm, and I don't know how well I can channel while being in storms like this, processing my own shit. I hope that this was helpful in whatever way. And I hope that above all else, you are yourself and being true to yourself. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.